Hello, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. This is season 13, and we are Steakmittens and Shadorra, or Wonder Twin A and B, which will very well switch this season. We'll find out. Or SteakDora the Explorers, and this is our review of REL 1 and REL 2A.
We're starting with REL 1 because they haven't played their games because they love us.
That's true. Also, I'm in REL 1, so you know.
That's not significant.
Self-bias! Before we get started, so those of you who are new to this, we will be doing these on, I think Wednesday is the plan for the season. Roughly this time, maybe, 30 minutes plus or minus, depending on schedules. And we will take a look at normally the results from last week. We'll do predictions for the week coming up. And we will rotate between looking at all the teams and seeing how the players are developing and watching one match from each division. So this week we're going to look at teams, obviously, because this is the Precap. And then next week we'll be looking at one match from each division. So if you have played a match that you think is particularly exciting, a good example of Blood Bowl, relatively meme-worthy, or perhaps funny in some way, feel free to poke us on Discord and we can put it on top of our list for what we're going to watch. If not, we'll pick one arbitrarily. And if it's bad, it's your fault because you didn't tell us which one is bad.
We won't like it, and we won't watch you ever. And every time we look at your team, we'll think, man, I hate that guy in our heads. We won't say it. We'll just think it really.
It's very, very true. And finally, we do a predicting competition for the championship is whoever gets to assume the title of Wonder Twin A for the following season. I'm currently Wonder Twin A because I won in season 12, but we will do predictions for the following weeks. If you are correct about your prediction, it's 1 point. If you're wrong, it's -1 point. If we cannot predict ties, and if two teams do tie, then we just assign 0 points to that, and I kind of keep track of that as it goes along. If you missed the live show, I will upload it to YouTube generally a day or two later. They're normally up by Friday or Saturday morning, depending on how industrious I feel. And with that all out of the way, you want to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. So first, we have Fellas Quettadal and Not for Science promoting from Div 2 last season. We recapped them last season, actually, and they're now in Div 1.
We did, yeah. I think we've recapped them 3 times now.
I think so. And this elf team continues to be stupid, but also very red.
Yeah, that is its prevailing themes.
Red and stupid?
Yes. Both in the double and stat up department, in the stat busts, in the niggles, in the take your pick. Yeah, I mean, Lord Nathaniel Marr continues to exist. This team is the only team in REL, as far as I know, or REBBL even maybe, that has 3 legends.
Yeah. Although we do only have one Blitzer. The first one is dead, but Lord Nathaniel Marr is the somehow triple double of elves, with Mighty Blow piling on Juggernaut on a High Elf Blitzer, which is kind of like the bane of all other elves. However, he is also Agi 3, less good at. He's just turned into an orc or something. Like,
you have a really aggressive emo swoop going on. What is happening with your hair?
My hair is just really long now, and it's sort of parted not directly in the center, so it's and it's like I've got some ridiculous ringlets going on. This is totally irrelevant, but there's some really serious ringlets happening, so they kind of become emo swoops with the ringlet nonsense.
I'm telling Tristan about the hilarious return of your adorable ring.
Oh my god, they're insane. Look at this. I know it's hard to see on the camera, but
so when I met Ben in high school, he had a fro, more or less.
Yeah, well, I have curly hair, so it kind of goes up until it gets too heavy, and then it falls over into metal hair or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, back to High Elves. We've got the thrower, who's also really good. He's got, accurate pass, sure hands, block, fend, dodge, legend thrower. Not the most ridiculous thrower, because he hasn't picked up Agi or anything, but he's still accurate and strong arm. Armor busted, because there isn't a player on this team who isn't something. Then we've got the first catcher here, who is the Strength 5 Frenzy piece, which is incredible. Strength 5 Blodge is so annoying to play against.
Yes. He's also movement busted and agi busted at least, so that makes him a little easier to handle. But yeah, he's a pain.
Yeah. Thankfully for their first week opponent, which is me, by the way.
Yeah, you versus a one-turner, like you just stand.
I just lose.
Chance. Yeah.
Is the natural one-turner catcher, movement 10, sprint, sure feet, juggernaut, which you talked about in previous seasons, but since this is a new season, it's kind of cool for the final blitz to get past the sort of end field screen that people will put up. You can cancel turn the both downs into pushes so that you can not waste your movement for the one turn if you're trying to blitz through rather than dodge.
Yeah, so it turns a 3+ into a 2+, basically. And if you do well on it, you make a lot of stuff easier. Like you make no more dodges if you get a knockdown. Like if you make the 5+, then you don't have to dodge anymore. So
and that works especially well because he's a strength 3 because high elf. So it's a 1 die for that on average, rather than the uphill that it would be for like a Skaven or a Wood Elf or something.
It's a gross piece.
And not speaking of gross pieces, here's the Blodge Step Tackle Strength 4 Elf, because
this was new. He just rolled the strength on Unrepentant Soul.
It's the 3rd strength up on this team.
I mean, there were definitely more than 3 strength ups on this team in its lifetime, but it goes through players, like T-Self.
It's true. And then finally
actually, we get the like stars of this team have been around forever. What am I talking about?
Yeah, but they take a bunch of damage and stay around. 2, there are multiple Wrestle Guard linemen. One of them has also got leap to be extra annoying and dodge.
5.
Yeah, well, high elves are slow compared to Wood Elves or whatever.
Movement busted. I mean, I like
this one is armor busted. Like
double armor busted, actually.
That's true.
He's got a serious concussion and a fractured skull. One led to the other. And then a normal AV busted wrestle lineman who probably should be canned, but not for science, doesn't fire players.
Well, he also doesn't have any money, so...
Yes, well, he should definitely fire the strength 2 one, but you know what? I bet he doesn't, because
that's fair.
Just not how he rolls.
I'm okay if he has the strength 2 lineman.
I mean, obviously you are, but...
Then a kick, constant for the elf team. Another wrestle who is... Niggled. I was like, where's the red number? I can't find it, and then forgot that niggled was a thing.
Is it only single niggled?
I don't know, man.
It's only single niggled.
Yes. Single and ready to mingle. And we've got the strength 2 lineman we just mentioned, and then another catcher. This one is wrestle. A lot of wrestle on this team, which is going to be very annoying for some people, namely me.
Also
and 4-year-olds.
It's worth noting the movement busted, agi busted, double strength up guy is also double niggle.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
4 firms.
I
fucking hate this team.
I love this team. I love this team so much. They have 4 rerolls, which is a lot for an elf team, but you're already giving away inducements against everybody. Like, you've got 240k MNG'd and you're still over 2,000. Like, when this team is fully healthy, they're at 2270. So like that extra reroll doesn't really make a difference in terms of your your inducements.
Look, this team gave up on being reasonable many moons ago. So anyway,
yeah,
it's a crazy good team. You want to talk about Ars Goetia for slightly less time?
Ideally, yes. So we've got Ars Goetia, Zeta.
Also has a lot of red numbers, actually.
That's true, and only 3 Chaos Warriors. Thankfully for me, again. Although he can afford a new one very soon.
The OSI was unkind to him as well, maybe. Or he might have been in Challengers Cup. I don't actually remember.
Well, we've got Standard in various order. Block Claw, Mighty Blow, Tackle Guard on this first one. The third one is along the same path in a slightly different order and hasn't picked up Guard or Tackle yet. And the second one has done the same thing, but also picked up Tentacles, which is an interesting pick. Not everybody will grab Tentacles like pre-getting plus strength, but we all know that this means his next level is going to be plus strength, right? Like,
yeah,
that's just guaranteed.
Amdusius, I think, had Tentacles last time we talked about it. Strength 4 Tentacles versus Strength 3 isn't as bad as you'd imagine. I actually thought it was 1 tier worse. You only get away 40% of the time or something like that. But it's still not.
Thank you, Charles Scrabble, and welcome along, Mongoose, Super Bowl champion and new member to REL 1. And you get to participate in our wonderful nonsense that is the SteakDora, the Explorer show.
Yes, I've already told the team that I fucking hate it, and complimented Ben's hair for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's how this recap goes.
We just flirt for 2 hours, and you guys are forced to watch.
Yeah, sometimes there are drinks.
I have drinks.
Cheers.
I have a beer so sour. It's kind of like.
I love sour beers.
Tristan was like, "It's zesty," and then I took a sip of it, and I was like, "It's like biting into a pile of lemon zest. Like it's like almost painfully sour."
The beers that remind you of Warhead candy are like my jam. Or like the ones that make your face hurt. I'm a big fan.
Tristan actually had a beer so sour last year that she couldn't drink it. She was like, "I need to pour this down the sink because it hurts my face." Emily and I are very different when it comes to beers. I love the super sour ones and like the saison-y ones that are like very intense. And I think the way she describes them is like, this tastes like socks. They've got a bit of funk to them. It's true.
Yeah,
you never want to smell a really funky saison because sometimes you smell it and you're like, "Ooh, yeah."
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, and she's not, but she loves the stouts that taste like you're licking the earth outside. Like the ones that taste like dirt and like chocolate and coffee and stuff, and I'm less of a fan. Anyway, we should talk about the Beastmen of the second team before we waste way too much time doing these things.
You might know this one, Travel Scrabble. It's a beer by I think it's by Dunham.
Oh, I like Dunham.
Yeah, it's like Dunham collaborating with like a Nordic brewery.
Oh, I think I've had that one.
I have to talk about Chaos. I thought it was new, but maybe not.
Well, sometimes I get random. Like, I've had a Dunham beer with like a Nordic-looking rune on it. I don't know if.
No, it's not that one. It's got this like weird tentacle monster on it. But, yes.
The ones I tend to get here are the one with the mountain face on it, and the one with the
Saison de Pinacle.
Yeah. Yes, and the Melon Vice is the other one that I get here a lot. Anyway, so one Killy Beastman. And by one, I mean two, with Mighty Blow Claw piling on Block Tackle Juggernaut, and this one is Mighty Blow Claw Block Tackle piling on. Also, Movement Busted and Armor Busted, which is a little sad.
Ipsos is the real key of this team. I mean, like, it doesn't have anything special, but it turns out you don't need it.
No. And the Hagenti is like, he has piling on, but it's pretty terrifying to piling on with an Armor 7 guy and then be like, please foul me.
I wouldn't know what that's like. I don't know. Drumpf never got removed.
And then we have another Movement Busted, but strength increased version. Who I like the stand firm. The stand firm on the strength 4 guard is
he's basically a Chaos Warrior at this point.
Yeah, and it's the fourth Chaos Warrior.
I mean, he is an armor busted Chaos Warrior. So yeah.
Yes. And so the guard can be in an annoying spot, strength 4, stand firm, hard to shift, and if you don't shift him, he hits you back with Claw Mighty Blow, which is very useful.
For sure. He's got only 2 tackle, which there is a good amount of elf, and there's a little bit of elf at least in this division.
Three elf, I think.
Oh, he got 3 tackle. Also, 3 elves. So yeah, that's a good amount. We're good.
And then we have a movement sidestep, block frenzy piece, like that's his surfer.
There are 4 elves.
The sidestep is funny. Like a lot of most people would say stand firm is probably just better in a lot of cases, especially since it's not a double here and it kind of accomplishes the same thing. But the sidestep lets you get off the sidelines when you're dedicating him so much to surfing, and you could potentially do something back afterwards. So it's kind of interesting, but some people may debate the merit of using a double there for that. Ball carrier, he's got the standard set of ball carrier skills: blodge, sure hands, fake agi with 2 heads, and then he got not the stat he wanted in movement, but pretty much any stat after you've picked up blodge, sure hands on a ball carrier on a Chaos or Nurgle team are good. And then block, guard, beastmen, and some idiots for the line. 3 rerolls. Pretty good Chaos team. Needs another Chaos Warrior perhaps, but he does have the fake one in Tanagor's.
Yeah, what Truk is saying basically. Stand firm has no play around other than Juggernaut, which does exist, especially in high divs.
That's very true. There are a lot of Nurgle teams.
You don't need a skill to play around sidestep. You just need players. You need a skill to play around stand firm.
Zizeta also coming from promoting from Division 2, by the way. Fear and Bloating from the Red Joker, who
first of 5 Nurgle teams. Shoot me in the fucking head.
Who did very well last season, top of the div, so remains in Div 1, obviously, with a 21-30 Nurgle team.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had the top score for the div.
Yes, they were
top
they were
score in REL, period.
Yep. Yaza the Great is not quite Yaza of Mucus, but it's a standard Beast of Nurgle. You know, guard, stand firm, break, tackle. The first two are default in some order, and the third one is what you take when you haven't rolled block yet. 4 Nergal Warriors, and what do we have on them? 3 of them are the kind of standard array of block, guard, mighty blow, claw, tackle, stand firm in some order. One of them has picked up a double for dodge. One is armor busted and one is movement busted. The movement bust is really annoying, actually.
It is annoying. At least he's blodged, so he's not going down as often. But when he does go down, he can't reposition. I know. I had 3 blodged warriors. I know how often they go down.
Man, my blodged Nurgle hepatitis B drill gets KO'd or removed the first block he takes every game, and he was a blodged Nergal warrior.
Yeah, it's effectively a double niggle, always roll POW. Like that's just.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
So yeah, they're all functionally identical until the 5th skill. They just have a different ordering, and then one is tackle, one is dodge, and one is stand firm. So it's like a pretty good lineup.
5 guard, which is kind of the max you get on a Nurgle team at most points, which is kind of nice to have. It helps a lot against the other punchy mashups.
Yeah, sometimes you see a strength or a Pestigore that goes support, but usually you can afford it, and usually they die. So he's recycling a killer right now in Brash Cores. He's just got the like starter of the killing package, which is really nice.
I don't think I've ever seen a Nurgle team with all like 6 possible guard. Most of the time you see 5, and they're pretty.
See them with, yeah, like they usually can't afford to go guard in their Pestigore.
Yeah, 4 claw mighty blow because he's recycling.
Just 4. Really nothing. Barely an extra 5. Yeah.
He doesn't have any claw palm though. The piling on makes the difference.
It does. Piling on does change the math pretty seriously.
Standard ball carrier with blodge, sure hands, fake agi, and 2 heads and extra arms. Then has picked up tackle for his legend skill, just so he's slightly more useful on defense.
Yeah, and a 3rd tackle. This team really needed a 3rd tackle, especially because Brash Gores probably wants to go piling on before tackle.
Man, I'd love to have a 2nd tackle.
Your team sucks. I know that's like the meme of the div, but like, you know, we can't always be calling back to it. Geshmogors is the real star of this team, of course. Very hard to keep 8 balls safe from a pseudo agi 5, strength 5 blitzer. Wrestle tackle.
Yeah, on the blitz, he's agi 5, strength 5, wrestle tackle. It's gross.
Good luck. Great team. Probably one of my favorites to do well in the division.
Yeah, and Red Joker tends to play it pretty well. You know, he wants, you know, piling on, but you might even consider it as Juggernaut at this point, considering how much stand firm exists on Brash Gores.
Sorry, while you were talking, I flipped to your team.
Yeah. It's bad. And like I would kill for this Nurgle team, because next we have my team, which is this monstrosity.
Well, when it kills you, you will be on that Nurgle team, so there's that at least.
That's true.
Actually, I think Nurgle's Rot doesn't work on Nurgle's Rot, does it?
So I have,
no, it's only decay, regeneration, and stunty.
So I have 5 players that actually have a skill, and one of those is Dirty Player. So we replaced the Beast of Nurgle because my old good one with block, dodge, and like plus movement died. So we have a rookie. We've got 2 rookie Nurgle Warriors. This guy used to be... I was so sad when I fired him. Natto Kidney Disease, the first one, was like block, mighty blow, claw, guard, tackle. And he was the only original player left from this team. Everyone else has been replaced at some point. And this team I've had since College League. So I was like, I agonized. The video is probably still on my stream, or in video somewhere of my last OSI game where I fired him. And I like just sat there and was sad for like 10 minutes before I fired him. But he was also
pretty happy when I like gave my Chaos team the boot, but they had betrayed me.
But he was also agi busted, armor busted, and double niggled. And keeping around a double niggled, armor busted, mighty blow, claw, like block, tackle Nergal Warrior is just like asking for him to die. So like I fired him before the last game in hopes of getting a good MVP. That didn't work. Hepatitis B drill the second is Blodge Guard, which is good if he wasn't one of the only Nurgle Warriors. And Viler Flume is, the standard Nurgle Warrior array, but he's also, armor busted. 2 rookies. I tried so hard for 3 games to give this guy 1 SPP, and I failed like 15 vanity passes, and I'm really upset about it. But Dirty Player Rotter, a bunch of random Rotters. We only have 3 Pestigoras because they keep dying, and I haven't managed to be able to afford to get a new one because I had to buy a new beast and 2 new Nergal Warriors recently.
Yeah, so I mean, like the consensus is you do not have a team.
No, I have 4 players.
You have a great ball carrier. You have
Yes.
a great killer. You have
And
a
nothing
single
else.
okay Nurgle Warrior, and you have another quite good Nurgle Warrior, and that's it. Yeah,
Yes.
you're gonna die. And that's gonna be
This guy can like probably win games on his own, but like it's gonna be hard for him to not be targeted because I only have 11 players. Yeah, I really should have rerolled this team, but like I've had this team since college, and I have this unnatural emotional attachment to it. So it's got to stay around until it's no longer functional. And a lot of people would argue that it's currently no longer functional, but I thought I could get away with another season, and then the OSI was not kind to me, so it didn't really work out very well.
The OSI was unkind to me, and I was like, that's enough.
Travel Scrabble.
The writing was on the wall.
I came from Div 1. I was in Div 1 last season, so I remained in Div 1 because I missed the playoffs by 1 point.
Travel Scrabble also remained in Div 1.
Very true. So I get to play Travel Scrabble again, and maybe I won't get as lucky this time. Last time,
his misordered team, for people who are new here, is he believes it is good luck. He reordered it logically 1 for 1 game and got utterly crushed and blamed us for it forever. So.
Well, no, he reordered it logically specifically for my game against him because I complain about it every time. So he reordered it like by positional for my game against him, and then switched it back up to this random arbitrary nonsense the moment the game was over before the next div review.
Oh, nice.
Like specifically for my game, which I appreciated a lot. Like nice little sign of respect. But here we are. Top Cat is still around. The Agi 4, Strength 4 white with Guard, Mighty Blow, and Tackle.
I believe he's a single nickled, only single nickled.
Where's the other white? There he is. Minor 49er with Mighty Blow, Tackle, and Guard.
Also still around, yeah. Both the Wolves are the true stars of this team, though.
Yeah.
We have Muttley 3 at Agi 5, Blodge Tackle, coming in on Legend, and we have Muttley Jr., Strength 4, Mighty Blow, Sidestep, Blodge, whatever.
These 2 wolves are gross.
Not Tackle, interestingly enough. So doesn't have Tackle on his Killer Wolf, and is coming in on Legend where he will probably roll Piling on.
Mighty Blow, Strength 4, Blodge, Step, Frenzy, Clawed, Stupid Wolf.
Stupid.
And this one is Agi 5. Like, this guy is such a serious threat to so many teams because, like you know, there are so many Nurgle and Chaos in this div. It doesn't really matter. If they can't take Muttley off the field, they'll just pick up the ball and run away, and then there's nothing the Nurgle or Chaos can do, even if they kill everyone else on the team. He's such a ridiculous player against bash matchups that, like, he's going to be able to do some really stupid things. 2 Flesh Golems. Standard sort of Flesh Golem-y things. Block, Guard, Mighty Blow, Grab, Break, Tackle, Block, Mighty Blow, Break, Tackle. And then a bunch of idiot zombies. One has Kick, one has Dirty Player, and everyone else is there to be thrown to the grinder. Rand the Mad is followed. Welcome along. Mad. There's no end.
Rand the Mad, yes.
Yes. Words are difficult. Stouticus, another Nurgle team, was 22 something, like huge Nurgle team, 23 at one point, is now 2170.
Yeah, he was the biggest team in REL, competing with Guadadal.
Stouticus was from Div 2, is promoted from Div 2, did well in Div 2 last season to promote to Div 1.
He had to replace Black Beignets, so.
Oh, yes.
But he has Block Guard now, so that's nice.
Well, stolen in the way, like we've seen before. Guard, stand firm, and then we didn't roll block, so we took Break Tackle. 4 Nergal Warriors. 3 of them are the sort of standard progression, although they went Block, Guard first, instead of some where you see like the Mighty Blow Claw path first. And Angry Churro is the cool one with Strength, Block, and Tentacles. In 8 SPP, he'll get stand firm and be super annoying. But
yeah, considering he has movement bust, he's definitely a priority on both him and Canoe as you are, I think. Stand firm is the next pickup for.
I think I agree on both of those players, yeah.
He's got a new Pestigore that he's working on that probably is going to be his sacker. He doesn't currently have a sacker, like a wrestle sacker.
No. Neither do I. That would be great to have.
Yellow Lid Brownie is a disgusting ball carrier. Can pick up in any tackle zone. Is Agi 4, sure hands. Dodges on Agi 5. Is Blodge. It's a great piece.
And a killer.
A little bit better than yours, I think.
That's the standard. Well, he's better than mine in that he has Big Hand and is Legend. I'm 1 level below. But has all the same skills otherwise. All apple pie is the ever-present meme. Is Agi 2. Like, the number of times I've casted this team and been like, just pick up the ball with all apple pies, and then not realizing he's the Agi 2.
Yeah, all apple pies needed a new way to meme once he got block.
Yeah, and it's Agi 2.
Is honestly one of the most interesting players in this team, and certainly one of the scarier ones to look at. At movement 8, he's a
frenzy.
He's a Jugs wolf, basically.
Yeah, with block.
Except he has horns. So.
It's cool. He's gonna probably want stand firm if he uses him for surfy things as the last level, but he's a ways away from that. 2 dirty players and 2 regular rotters.
It's true you don't, though.
He's already Agi 4.
He's already Agi 4, so extra arms doesn't do him any good. Big hand always does as good as extra arm,
if
other
not
than
better.
in the rain.
Yeah, that was the one.
Because I don't think big hand nullifies rain, does it?
No,
it does actually. Yeah. So big hand is just straightforwardly better.
Extra arms does help passes, but he doesn't have a receiver.
He doesn't. But Agi 3 is an acceptable receiver. The catch roll is not influenced by the throw, so.
That's true. But like Agi, he's also Agi 5 for like dodging, so like dodging into the tackle zones to pick up with big hand if he has to. Gives him some weird options that not a lot of Nurgle teams have.
It's true though that that basically means extra arms would be equivalent to big hand as long as you don't have like more than one tackle zone. So anyway, I could see an argument either way. But yeah, it's a good team. Look, another one to watch for this season for sure. I'm not going to say that about just every Nurgle team, I swear. But the
second high elf team that we haven't recapped before, actually, I don't think.
Never covered Ramazet before.
Ramazet and the Voltrex Vanguard, who have been around for a while, promoting from Div 2, Ramazet here. So Div 2B it must have, because we covered Div 2A last season. This team has 2 blitzers. They are both guard. One has, which is nice because that's a double for both of them. One is sidestep, one is tackle, and one has Agi 5. And Agi 5 on an elf team is always silly. It's a little bit of a weird combination with guard. I guess you can technically dodge into places to use guard, but that's not often in elfy playstyle. But the Agi 5 is just too good to pass up in a lot of cases. Pretty standard thrower, just has block. Nothing terrible there, but we'll probably aim to level him and get some nonsense passes going on. Hey, look, another Juggernaut natural 1-turner. His first 2 levels were movement. What? Just here, have a 1-turner.
I made a new emote for you.
Oh, thank you. It has a
you can't
finger.
Keep it forever. It's thinking.
Oh, yes.
His first 24 hours.
his first 2. Oh yeah, I enabled like the channel points or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway,
the first 2 levels for movement, just movement. Here you go.
It's idiotic. Yeah, it's like here's a natural 1-turner. I think that's true for the other high elf team as well.
And then instead of taking sprint right away to make it actually like a thing, he went dodge Juggernaut first. But I guess like 1 push is pretty easy to get at, and it's better to have the built-in dodge and like blitz action when you got the double for it. So that makes sense. No, we haven't done 2 yet, Big Chuck.
1 push is easy to get, but it does complicate things a little bit in the sense that you have to do line blocks and stuff to clear that person up. So sometimes it can be a bit annoying, but it's usually not too much of a problem.
Like, that's a perfect 1-turner. No injuries, movement 10, sprint, sure feet, dodge, Juggernaut. Done. 2 other catchers. One is a sacker, I guess. Unfortunately, he's got block rather than wrestle, but he is strength 4, leap, tackle. And then the third one is just sort of the standard, please, he's hard to knock down because strength 3, blodge. Bunch of linemen. One is another Agi 5. Agi 5 wrestle was, I guess, trying to be another sort of backup sacker, or perhaps the first sacker before the catcher was around. A guard, because you always take guard. Block wrestle, just because they're levels that you can take on low-level elves. And then a Raj Fend, which I guess was to be sort of ball carrier-y and also annoying initially, and then is also picked up by a kick as a final skill there for now. I mean, yeah, wanted like the jugs is obvious there. Like you get the doubles, oh cool, you just take the jugs. But like The fact that the very first one was dodge over sprint to just make it not natural, I think, is the weird thing there.
That is an interesting choice. Still, great team, obviously. This
Don't want to play it.
The blitzing catcher is stupid. I mean, it's leap, strength 4. It's going to be hard to protect yourself from that. It's got an Agi 5 Raj piece for being a nice sacking threat as well. It's got a guard. It's got 3 guard, actually, now that I look around. No Mighty Blow. I would have expected one of these blitzers to have taken Mighty Blow. Maybe he wanted to go... Like, I don't know what order these were rolled in, but having a little bit of kill on elves is nice, just to kind of like create a bit of a numbers advantage if you can. It could be nice, like
against other elf teams in particular. Yeah,
even just like against Bash, if you can find if you can just like whittle them a tiny bit as they whittle you more seriously, it can often make the difference because they're stretched a little more thin, and you can do a lot with fewer players like they can't. So,
and then the perennial Archangel's Will still around.
This team, well, technically still around. Savari, Adrastia.
This is the most number of players we've ever seen this team have. What are you kidding? Technically still around.
We've seen it with a full roster. He's lost his double. Was it a double AV bust, Archangel? I think you're here
on the tree.
On your tree. I think it was an armor 8 tree at the end.
Iron Skin is gone, or Iron Bark, whatever his name was. Iron something.
I think it was Iron Skin, and he had an AV bust. He was minus movement, minus AV, minus strength.
The strength bust definitely kills it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the movement should have. Yeah, he who catches unseen is a one-man team. He took pass as his legend skill, for which is a double. There was a lot of discussion about what he rolled boxcars, as I recall.
Yeah, that could have been strength.
It could have been strength, but his job is not to flex his strength. So everyone actually was pretty much in agreement that strength on him was a waste. Pass is interesting because it basically, with Nerves of Steel, it pairs nicely to let him just kind of do a bit of everything.
I think the argument is like, because of Nerves of Steel and Agi 5, almost everything that this player does is a 2+. So anything that just adds in a built-in reroll that he doesn't have to use a real one for is valuable. And this player is like 80% of the time used to do the like leap in, pick up the ball, and get rid of it.
Hurl it to space, yeah.
Like recovery sort of play after like Savari or Adrastia like gets the ball on the floor. So it's like it fits very well with what this player is designed to do, which is really cool. I really like that the player was sort of designed to do a very specific thing and then does that very well, rather than just taking the standard like quote meta picks, because like he picked Nerves of Steel and pass block, right? Like,
yeah. Though we all joke about he who catches unseen and Adrastia being the backbone of this team,
but they are.
But Savari is Archangel's. No, but Savari is Archangel's actual favorite player, and I think if someone kills Savari, he will reroll this team.
Yeah, like leap wrestle tackle is kind of how we get the ball on the floor and then pick it up with he who catches unseen and throw it to some loner somewhere, presumably, because that's all there is on this team. Welcome along, Not for Science. It's nice to have you here.
I yelled about your team, but it was a while ago.
Dead Wish is the other war dancer, just standard tackle, although Adrastia's got strength and mighty blow tackle for the punchy aspect. Yanari is a catcher with block and sidestep to be annoying. Same thing with Fleur de Lys. And Sever is a new one with, well, not new, he's here last season, but we're very used to this team being like a catcher, Savari, and a couple war dancers. Now there's a thrower, which is a brand new sort of positional.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also a position that gets thrown on the line at the first like sign of trouble. So don't expect Sever to stick around for too long.
No, when you have like players that you really need to keep around, like the top 3 there, you just can never afford to put them on the line, so you got to put someone else, right?
Yep. And then we have Cleric, another Div 1/2A team that is still around. At some point,
I would just like to point out that this team is 1330 with 6 players.
It's beautiful.
It's almost more TV than my team, which has 11 players, and this team has 6. I don't understand.
So for those who haven't seen REL 1/2A's Eternal Brett team,
it's Cleric.
Cleric at one point had a blitzer that was just Griff. It was strength up, agi up, blodge, I mean, it had like all of the Griff skills basically. So he had just a rostered Griff, and then it deaded one time.
It was quite literally Griff. Like it was, Blodge, Strength 4, Agi 4, Fend, all that stuff. Cleric came from Div 2, by the way. And then...
Are you not firing your Strength 2 Lino, Def Not for Science? I would like to have words. No, yeah, the Strength 5, it was funny because we went through and talked about its stat bus, and then I went back and checked, and I'm like, oh, and he's also double niggled.
He's solid, don't worry about it. We have three blitzers on this team that aren't the rookie. One of them has a pending level, so I'm interested to know what that was. But the Arthur Pendragon is Agi, and then Blodge Tackle Mighty Blow Pro. Lord Porohoi is Blodge Tackle Sidestep Mighty Blow Agi. Mighty Blow being doubles, by the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Brett's. And the last one being Fend Sidestep Blodge Tackle Leader to save a little bit of TV. The fun thing about this is that Brett's will often do this sort of like blitzer passy nonsense. They can kind of do short passes and run forward because they have catch built in. They're very speedy, but they don't often have the agi to make like a really good passing game work like you would with like some sort of elf team. But two agi pieces make that like really, really feasible, and you can kind of do very elfy weird things with a Bretonnian team with this many agi pieces, which is very fun. New year, new beer, BRB. 4 blockers. One of them is plus strength, which is cool. One is Mighty Blow. Might as well grab it because it's the only strength axis you have. Witch Hunter is guard because you need guard somewhere. I assume Southern Gladiator and Houndmaster Hobart will both take it very shortly. Blodge, or Raj, I guess, to make him, and Stand Firm to make him a little more difficult to take that guard down. And if you do take the guard down, he's wrestle, so you can get it both down to get the guard out of the way, but it also knocks down the player that you're blocking with in that case. So if you have this big like bash player scrum where you're trying to knock down each other's guard to like engineer better blocks on players that matter, you gain an assist by losing the guard, but you also lose an assist by losing the player that blocked the guard. So it's kind of interesting. Then a bunch of idiot peasants, and who cares? Two of them have block, one of them is dirty player, and 2 of them are movement busted. They go on the line. 2 rerolls because we have the leader one here, so we can save a bit of TV that way. 18-10 for Brett's here. And then I think the biggest Nurgle team, and in fact probably the biggest team, although no, Not for Science is bigger when his one-turner is around. We've got Atomics. If I lose another position, I'll probably cut down 3 to 4 players to rebuild. At this point, I'd rather have a bench than fire anyone, no matter the damage. I guess that's fair. You don't have any money, so you can't really replace the Strength 2 guy with... I mean, I guess you technically could this round if you really wanted to, because your one-turner is MNG'd, so if you fired him and just had a loner, it would be the same, but your loner wouldn't be Strength 2. But then next round, when this guy is back, you wouldn't have a bench anymore. Which I guess is the question there. Rowdy Rebel Rousers and Atomics was also in Div 1. Or no, Atomics was the Div 2 Nurgle team, right? No, Atomics was the one from Div 1. Stouticus was from Div 2. So Atomics remains in Div 1. One of the people that I was fighting for the playoff spot with, and I didn't quite manage to get. Missed out on playoffs by 1 point, sadly. Also in a weird order, but what can you do? The Sage, the Beast of Nurgle. There we go. The first Beast of Nurgle in this div with block guard and 2 SPP away from a level. Definitely take Stand Firm because movement 3 is going to be very annoying on your super slow squishy boy. He is at least guard and block, so maybe he won't move. But he's going to be very easily marginalized with movement 3, either with like just a zombie thrown on him, or like the fact that your team is 4 squares away and you don't want to GFI with a big guy if you don't have to. So Stand Firm would be super useful on him. 4 Nergal Warriors. So we've got Horny Cricket and Luminous. Okay, so Horny Cricket and Lord Farquaad are along the normal Nurgle route: block, guard, mighty blow, claw, tackle in some form. Along with Sandoon, who's
Did I miss most of a Nurgle team?
No, I talked about the Beast and the Nurgle. You missed Cleric's Brett's mostly.
I was there for some of
And then
now I have a Brett IPA called Infinity Mirror, which I think is mildly pretentious.
It's very pretentious. And the cool Nergal Warrior is Luminous with Strength 5 and Tentacles, so he gets to be a mini beast, which may or may not be more effective than the actual beast, considering the actual beast is movement 3. But it has the same skills otherwise. It's quite literally the same skills, but it's traded in armor for a movement.
Yeah, rough trade.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's having 2 is going to help against the elf teams. 2 players that can lock down 2 to 3 agi players with if you get them in good positions by way of tentacles. There's just a lot of extra rolls elves don't want to make or spend rerolls on. For Pestigors, we've got Barry Sanders, who's Blodge, so ball carrier, or no, backup ball carrier, I guess, because we have Ornan up here with Blodge, Sure Hands, and Fake Agi, as per every Nurgle ball carrier ever. And then we have...
Said he didn't replace Ornan Water Closet.
Yeah, Ornan Water Closet was the killer, but there isn't one now. I guess Chucky is on his way to becoming that with Block and Mighty Blow, so he needs Claw and then, Tackle piling on. We have Bird, and the other cool Pestigor that is exactly the same as the other one with Frenzy, Strength 4, Edgy 4, Wrestle, Tackle, just to be...
That's not true. Gishmagors has...
Strength 4, Edgy 4, Wrestle, Tackle?
Yeah, but he has 2 heads, and Bird has Frenzy.
Yes, but they're last season we had 2 Nurgle Pestigors that we were recapping that were exactly the same with plus Edgy plus Strength.
It was the Vamp Pestigor was an off-sided meme that you just get handed. Emily would call this beer sockish.
I would enjoy it then.
Sock and Jace. Just a sousson of footwear.
Of sock. And then a bunch of Rotters. One is a dirty player in armor 7. Who cares? He's the dirty player. He's going to get sent off anyway. Another dirty player. And then, Rotters. Kitty, Bert, Chucky, Thing 1, Thing 2, Thing 3, and Sergi J, who I assume is a Pokemon. Next page. Tessa, Conspiration Entropique.
Nope. Neither.
Conspiration Entropique.
That's cool. Though you sound like a weird stuffy.
I'm really bad at the R sort of like sounds and the like throaty ones, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at those sounds because they just don't come naturally to me. I try, but I'm not particularly good at them. Another Chaos team. 4 Chaos Warriors. 1 is a rookie. The other 3 are doing the standard Chaos thing, or Chaos Warrior thing. Block, Claw, Mighty Blow, Guard, Tackle, Stand Firm in some order. But one of them is armor busted, at least, to be slightly interesting. There's the Killer Beastmen, piling on Mighty Blow, Claw, Tackle, Block. Regular Wrestle Beastman, just probably a line idiot for when we don't have rookies. The Ball Carrier Beastman with who doesn't have dodge, but he has all the other things that ball carriers will take. This is the I haven't rolled doubles yet Chaos Ball Carrier. Boar is the cool one though. So we've got Raj Tackle for like your sacker, but he's also picked up 2 heads to make it the dodges around things or away from things that are marking him, or cutting corners or what have you, easier for those cool 2 die sack attempts. And then Diving Tackle, just in case he doesn't have a good chance to be a sacker, he can be annoying with Diving Tackle, which is a very cool second double for a Chaos team. You don't see that too often on Beastmen, but I think I like it as a good option for that type of player. Block, dodge on some other Beastmen. Utility Beast with Kick and Dirty player. And then finally, Darwin. Look at this monster.
He's so beautiful.
What a beautiful boy.
He's got an Agi bust, doesn't even care. Doesn't dodge, only hits.
No dodge, only punch. Block, Claw, Tentacles, Stand Firm, Guard, Agi bust. Excellent. He gets to do both the Tentacles, Guard, Stand Firm sort of annoying thing. He also gets to do the Mighty Blow Horns, Block, Claw, Frenzy, Murder You thing.
When people are like, hey, I want to take a Mino on Chaos teams in the Rookie League, we're like, okay, they're not super standard. They're not terrible, but they're not super. You either build a killer one with Claw Mighty Blow, or you build a roadblock one with like,
stand firm guard.
Stand firm. Yes, and Darwin said,
"Fuck that shit. I'm doing both."
Yes. Because most of them, spoilers, do not live to one level or one level away from legend.
Yeah, and a lot of them will be around for the first few games as like a sort of rat ogre type thing where people will take one to like protect their other players while they level and stuff, and to get some free mighty blow hits in as like a TV 1000 team, and then kind of get fired for TV efficiency. But he just stuck around and is still excellent, and I love Darwin so much. And then Motley, the murdery Space Elf troop. Also Tessa remains in Div 1 this season. Motley, the murdery Space Elf troop, coming from Div 2. So it must have been Div 2B.
Yeah, I played Motley 2 seasons ago. I think he was in my Div. Oh wow, his team got wrecked.
When I see Motley, all I can think of is Muttley, the like dog from the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. It goes...
That is weird that you think that and not like Motley Crue or many other more relevant references.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, it is what it is.
So someone in the Rookie League as well today was like, hey, don't Witch Elves have strength access naturally? And I was like, no, that would be busted, and here's why.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry is unfortunately niggled, which is new. Really tough to eat a niggle on the AV7 piece of the Dark Elf roster, but
the AV7 piling on piece, like when pretty scary to pile on when you're AV7 niggled, but Frenzy, Jump Up, Mighty Blow, Piling On, Block Tackle is pretty damn good for an elf team, and any team really, but like an elf team in particular who don't normally have access to those tools. Speaking of doubles,
I mean, every important player on this team has a double or a strength.
Oh god, that's gross. Look at there are only 3 blitzers, to be fair, but the 3 that are around are Blodge Guard tackle, Blodge Guard tackle sidestep, and Blodge Guard agi. It's disgusting. Like, hey, let's take our normal like Chaos Warrior style thing where we have our strength axis, like get in the way guys, and also give them agi 4 and dodge. Like sweet. I mean, ugh. Like normally I'm okay. Like I'm happy to play against Dark Elves if I have to pick an elf team to play against as a Nurgle coach, but like this team outguards me and I don't like that.
Does have 4 guard, so yes.
And I have 1.
A hell of a team. And it's got kick, so it doesn't have any of the super unfair pieces. It doesn't have an amazing sacker. Halle Berry is pretty unfair, but in Div 1 you need to be very unfair. Tom Shanks 2 is agi 5, which is nice. So like this is a team that can kind of stand and fight and force you to make errors, but it's not the sort of team necessarily that can
do stupid elfie nonsense.
Yeah, do like crazy stupid elfie nonsense. But Dark Elves tend to do less of that anyway because they're slower, and speed is an important part of doing elf bullshit. Yeah, it's really good, and I'm curious to see how it does. But it's currently in a little bit of rough shape, though. It's going to have insane inducements against everyone, and Dark Elves have really good inducements.
Except me.
Yes, except you. I mean, even against you, he gets a little bit.
If he has both players back, he gets none. I get inducements.
And another new entry into Div 1, we have Locus with the All-Stars of Chaos. Cosecant, yes. Cosecant, whatever. I don't know.
Coming from Div 3, making the jump, the highest jump into Div 1, going from 3 to 1, whereas everyone else is either from 1 or 2, as far as I remember. Actually, that depends on where Mongoose come from.
Yeah, I played Locust last season. I think he was in my Div last season.
4 Chaos Warriors. Standard Chaos things, except for the one that took Jump Up. Like, very likely going to go the Piling On route next, considering you took Jump Up. But for now, it's not going to be incredibly useful. So we're, 20 SPP away from that, the Jump Up Piling On dream. And it's going to prevent you from getting either Tackle Guard or Stand Firm at some point. So you'll have to make that decision for that Chaos Warrior. And the answer is probably Stand Firm if he's being dedicated to that sort of role. And it's a bit easier to do it on Chaos than Nurgle because they're movement 5. So when you pile on all the time, you don't lose as much movement, especially with Jump Up available. They're still pretty useful. You can kind of blitz with them, which is nice. And then some beastmen. One is the killer, block, claw, mighty blow, piling on, tackle, ball carrier, blodge, sure hands, utility with block, guard, secondary killer, or like anti high strength piece killer, I guess, with this with strength 4 and mighty blow to do the strength 5 blitzes if you need to hit a strength 4 piece.
Yeah, it's not bad. I probably wouldn't have gone mighty blow. I probably would have gone guard there, but he is really lacking. I mean, I say he's lacking in kill. He's got 3 claw, mighty blow, and one of them's piling on.
Juggernaut would have been good too, like strength 5 on a Juggernaut. To like, you can pretty much blitz any of those standard roadblock pieces out of the way pretty easily with the strength 4 guard pieces.
I think there's Chaos tend to prioritize the like really standard strength skills because they have so many strength access players and they tend to die pretty quickly that you really want to have like a lot of guard floating around.
Yeah,
like 3 guard is a very low amount of guard for a team that doesn't have
that has 100% strength access.
Yes, and also only has 4 strength 4 pieces, so it tends to need more guard.
Only 4th strength 4. Only.
Yeah, I know I say that, but then you play Chaos and you're like, why am I getting so outbashed? Like, it just happens. It's because I think you're armor 8 a lot of the places, so you just tend to get armor broken even when you're fighting against like Orcs. Yeah, no bench.
No bench on this team.
Benches get hard with Chaos teams because they tend to die.
And Beastmen are like kind of expensive for like
60K,
a line.
Yeah, they're pretty pricey.
I mean, 60K. It's not an elf thing, but like for a bash team, you don't have that like 40K idiot player. So you have to expose them and they tend to die, and then it can be slightly harder to replace them.
Yeah, I'm sure he's working on it.
And last but definitely not least, everyone says Bull Canoe and has said Bull Canoe, but I think it's supposed to be Volcano. Like this whole time, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Volcano, and everyone said Bull Canoe.
Mongoose is loose. Can weigh in on this.
Well, I don't actually know what division Mongoose was from, but our REBBL champion, Super Bowl champion here, as our final team, Chaos Dwarves, 1980.
Pretty good looking team.
Yeah.
Chorfs. It's been a while since we had Chorfs in Div 1, actually, now that I think about it. Jeb's Bone Snapper is a great 3C.
It is funny. I really like that. It went through the entire playoffs with everybody saying Bull Canoe, like literally everybody. And then like the playoffs finished, like, oh guys, it's actually Volcano. like after you're the Super Bowl champion, like now I have the clout to say this. Like
I like the way you've ordered your team. All of your break tackle happens at the same time. All of your mighty blow happens at the same time. You like alternate cutely between guard and never getting one of those awkward guard claw pieces. I mean, this is like basically perfect Chorf levels.
It's very
I don't
satisfying.
know about movement on a Chaos Dwarf blocker. I don't hate it. Yeah,
he's the blitzer. Look, Juggernaut.
Right. I can buy it.
The blitzer Chaos Dwarf blocker.
But it soothes my soul how you have your team organized. So
I really don't want to play this team.
Yeah, well, of course you have no team and he has a team.
Well, he has also a Chorf team with 3 claw mighty blow, 2 of them with piling on. Like enough guard to make it annoying. One of them being stand firm. Both bulls are pretty good. One is break tackle frenzy, although the movement bust kind of sucks.
Yeah, both of the bulls are fair, I will say, and
yeah, they're not broken bulls, which is weird for a
bull tank. Probably needs replacing. Not like right away, but movement 5 on a frenzy piece is so. I mean, he's movement 5 quote, but
Movement is always surprisingly useful. I had a movement beast of Nurgle for a while, and people made fun of me, but like there were several games where it came in super handy.
Yeah, I mean, like movement on a big guy, in particular on big guys who can't reroll their GFIs, can be nice. But the problem often is that big guys die because big guys take a lot of hits and they don't usually have block. And big guys have like a couple of skills they really need to pick up usually. So
and they're non-reliable.
I like movement on. Not on Croxagores, but on anything slower than that. I like movement on them as like a 3rd or 4th skill, maybe. Like guard stand firm is really essential.
It was very handy on the beast, but that's mostly because the beast's whole role is to like slap yourself into annoying positions and then just leave him there.
Yeah, and he's super slow, so it's nice to have a little bit of extra movement on him.
The ball carrier Hobgoblin is Gibbs Bone Snapper with plus movement and plus agi, which is both super like nice, excellent.
Yeah. The Chorfs really struggle for the ability to move the ball around quickly and for high movement pieces. So it's really nice to have a hobgoblin like this.
You will have to be careful to not do the Necro thing of like outranging the rest of your team, because like yeah, but so much of your like strength and like core of the team is movement 4, and movement 7 is almost double that. So if you're not careful, it's pretty easy to just run away from all your supporty pieces, like with guard, like the guard, mighty blow, stand firm guys. It'll be very easy to outrange them and then like lose some cage sort of protection and flexibility. But it's super nice for like the potato turns, and sometimes you have to potato, you know?
Sometimes you have to get a little starchy.
It's true. So first week predictions?
Yeah.
Are you gonna write them down? Presumably.
That is traditionally our arrangement.
Yes, I do the work and you write things down.
Does the work he says. I run the work he.
That's true. I don't do anything. I shouldn't be an admin. Like, I really shouldn't be.
You're just a token admin. It's fine. I'm in charge, so I keep you purple.
That's fair. Volcano and Battle Brothers will be an interesting matchup. We're like Super Bowl champion up right away against Cleric. Cleric gets some inducements in it. Sort of agi, runny away Bretonnian team versus those Chorfs.
Yeah, it's tough. He has only one guard. Houndmaster Hobbard has picked up a new strength up. But yeah, this is going to be a game where a lot of Bretonnians go crunch, I think.
I feel like it's really hard to just predict against the Super Bowl champion in week 1. You know, my opinion may change as we move like forward, but like by default, week 1, I think you got to favor the Super Bowl champion, right?
But the Bretts do get a wizard. Yeah, they do get a wizard. And they
with the agi, that's useful. Why do you have to make my decision harder? I thought it was going to be easy.
I mean, we could just start with a contested pick. It's fine. You don't have to copy me.
That's fair. Yeah, give me those Chaos Dwarfs. Give me Volcano.
Yeah. I don't have strong feelings that I don't necessarily believe in the Bretts, but I love Celeric's team, so I think I'll give him this one, and we'll see what happens.
Archangel's Will and the Rowdy Rebel Rousers. So Archangel starting with one of the Chaos team or Nurgle teams right away. So we've got Atomics is 2260 and Archangel's, I'm not figuring that out. Something team. I mean,
is Rebel.net updated yet? Because that does the math for you.
That's true. I don't know if it'll update the first week very easily until.
No, it's going to be second week. So we don't know. Lots of inducements. Archangel might be able to tell us how many inducements exactly, but
there's definitely a way to get it, but it's going to be like you can't click directly because you have to go to like the weekly matchup round and then you can look at the team. But if you just try to click on like the standings won't be updated, and that's how we normally get there. So if you go to like the scheduling thread, which is the easiest way to look at the matchup weeks.
Okay, so he's got 1680 according to Archangel. So 1680 to Atomics is 2260. So that's 600 minus a 580.
500. Okay, yeah. Archangel is very good at playing against other Nurgle teams, has done a lot, or other like Bashy teams, has had a lot of experience at it. Hugh Catches Unseen is very good at that matchup, and with 500k in inducements, we get some idiot elves if we want, plus a wizard. Like I think I like Archangel on this one, but you know, who knows? It could very easily go either way because of Nurgle punchy nonsense, but my gut says Archangel. How about you?
Yeah, I'll bite Archangel.
Archangel's just good at, like, having watched him play so many like Bashy matchups, he's very good at that matchup.
The Voltrex Vanguard, which I think is Ramaset, yes.
It is, yeah.
I need to learn the new team names versus Chaos. That Tessa's Chaos.
Yep, so that would be Tessa's Chaos are 2140 and the Voltrex Vanguard are 2100, so there's no real inducements to speak of. One-turner High Elves are so hard to like predict against versus Chaos, though.
Yeah, the Chaos are going to have lots of claw to do punching with.
There are 13 High Elves, though.
There are 13 high elves, so lots of bench to work through. Tessa, let me see Tessa's team real quick.
Yeah, for Archangel's team, like an Apo, Babes, Wizard, like a lot of like anything to keep good players on the field, and then the Wizard, and then you win the game 2-1 or whatever because you just get the extra score from the Wizard.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he can get a Babe for 10k, and I think that's probably a good investment. There's not actually that much kill on Tessa's team, and there's also not that much in the way of tackle.
It's going to be so hard for Tessa to like not just lose to a one-turner unless you can get through enough players to get to the one-turner.
I'll go with the high elves as well.
Yeah, because there's you have to get through 3 or 4 players before you can even like get a good hit on the one-turner or him even being on the field. Like, it's going to be difficult. I like the high elves. Grungy Desserts and the Murdery Space Elf Troop. I think I'm finally going to predict against the Dark Elves here. I mean, Motley has a cool Dark Elf team, and it would be very good against similar TV Nurgle teams, but Stouticus is 2170 like of murder you plus the double tentacle strength 5 stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's gonna get a ton of inducements to like, elf it up, but I think there's only so much elfing that's gonna be done against this team. I agree.
Yeah, the double tentacles is going to be annoying. Triple.
You kind of need unfair players, I feel, to beat. Well, like, it really helps to have unfair players to beat Nurgle at high TV as elves, or especially elves that can't run away that far.
Yeah, I've said this a million times, but as a Nurgle player, if I have to pick an elf coach to play, I'll play Dark Elves because I'm more afraid of speed than any of the agi nonsense. And Dark Elves are like the slowest team, especially with the Witch out. So Scooby and the gang and the All-Stars of Chaos. So we've got Travel Scrabbles, like unfair Necro, and Locust Co-Sequence Chaos. Chaos being down that much TV
is
not ideal.
Yeah. You might be able to get Borak.
So he has 3 Claw Mighty Blow, which definitely can do a thing against Necro. Like, it'll chew through zombies like nobody's business.
Got full regen.
Yeah, and we've got Motley Jr. can do some nonsense pickoffs, and as I said before,
I've got to go with
on this. Motley. As long as Motley 3 is on the field, I would favor Travel Scrabble over any Bash team. As soon as Motley 3 is off the field, the Bash team gets an advantage. So, like, protect Motley and you probably win. So Travel Scrabble is mine as well.
And then we have you versus the High Elves, and the High Elves win.
I picked the High Elves. I mean, I get like 400k in inducements, and inducement Nurgle are useless. The one thing I have going for me, he has more guard than I do, which doesn't make any sense. The one thing that I have
more strength up than you.
The one thing that I have going for me is that he's missing the one-turner. If the one-turner existed, I'd say this game is 99% elves. But with the one-turner out, like, I'd put it more at 75% elves. If I get pretty lucky with my 2 good players, and he like underestimates my agi ball carrier, then maybe I can pull some nonsense off. But I think it's going to require luck on my part to win rather than like average dice. Yes, it is, Big Chuck. Look at this team. Oh no, technically I have 2 guard, so we have the same amount of guard. This is a Div 1 team. I somehow managed to stay in Div 1 with this team, which is, I think, like, impressive, at least a little bit. And then we have Fear and Bloating versus Ars Goetia. So our first, like, weirdly enough, with this much bash, this is our, like, first, like, straight up bash mirror. The Red Joker and ZZ. Only off by about 100k TV, so a couple babes will do a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4 Claw Mighty Blow for ZZ. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Fear and Bloating. I don't know, this is hard. Like, on average, I say Nurgle at high TV Nurgle versus high TV Chaos. The Nurgle have like regen and mutations.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
a terrible matchup for sure. Sorry, I pinched a nerve in my back this weekend, so I've been like, I had to grab the heating back.
Zed is also a very good coach, though, so it's like it's difficult to count him out. Certainly.
Whoa now. He's all right.
But I think on average, like especially since this is the first week and we don't have a whole lot of like info to go on, you know, if these games were played 100 times, I feel like Red Joker wins the majority of them, just because foul appearance and regen will do a thing sometimes, and they have similar amounts of resources in terms of Mighty Blow and Guard. So I'll go with Red Joker.
Yeah,
but,
I think.
But I think it's like a 55 or 60-40 kind of thing.
Only one contentious pick, but it was a pretty straight up round, so I'm not surprised.
2A?
Dear God, yes. We've only been at for an hour and 10 minutes. I guess not that bad for a first round.
It's the very first one. We're going to spend way more time talking with the teams than we will in any other one. But we say that every season and then do this anyway, so, you know, who knows?
Every once in a while I get grumpy, and then I, like, force us to do, like, hour and a half recaps for a week.
I like
Is it
how
the
I
fun
saw...
division? No, it's the fucking division who played all their games.
Yeah. I saw people were talking in the recapper Discord, like, you know, I think like an hour per division starts to get a little like long. I'm like, oh damn, you people know nothing. We've been doing these crazy long form recaps forever, but people
we
apparently
always also get like, you know, high viewership at the start, and then people were like, dear God, no.
That's very true. I don't know why they let us keep doing these things, but apparently people like them. So, you know, there you go.
Well, you also put up the abridged version for people to like skim through. So
abridged? I like cut out the bullshit at the start and at the end. It saves like 4 minutes. Like it's like still 2 hours long. Bullshit.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
If you
flip through it.
If you people like this, please let somebody know so that they can know that we're not crazy.
You people.
You people as in you audience folk. Thick, Rich, and Creamy by Jimmerthy Burrito. So we've got...
Does this team still exist?
Well, he relegated from Div 1. Jimmerthy was in Div 1 last season and has relegated down to Div 2. Didn't have the greatest season, and you can probably see that with the state of the team. Both werewolves are still good and are still exist, but that's pretty much all this team really has.
Both werewolves are exist.
Both werewolves are exist, and really on a necro team, do you need anything else other than the werewolves are exist?
The double niggled. Well, both are niggled. I don't think either of them are double niggled. Werewolves. Yeah, I mean it's a decent set, but they are likely to be removed at some point.
And are exist and are niggled, but
are still niggled. Yes.
Block, Mighty Blow, piling on, jump up, tackle, and then slightly less killy and slightly more survivable in Blodge, jump up, tackle, Mighty Blow instead of piling on. Two flesh golems, probably not Provolone, has been around forever. 19 matches, like he's been around for like 2 seasons and has not leveled, which is both funny and sad. Like this has been a rookie flesh golem for like over a season, which is really funny. But Havarti Makes You Farty has been around for even longer, and is with 107 matches. That's ridiculous, and is still pretty excellent. Blodge Guard, diving tackle, Mighty Blow, very annoying, get in the way, sort of strength beast, tie up some players, let your werewolf do nonsense. Not a ghoul to be seen. So
ghouls are for fools. So yeah, like only 3 guard, more niggles than you can shake a stick at. One rookie flesh golem.
One white. So like we need a second white and we need a ghoul, but I think the ghoul is probably no, I think the white might be more important because like technically
you gotta
can
keep
carry in the werewolf.
Down. This is a chainy inducement scumming necro team.
I know the feeling. Strategy. I know the feeling, Jimmy. Like
yeah, Ben's is a lewd grip whip arm inducement team.
I had to fire my last OG at the end of the OSI, and I was really sad about it because he'd been around forever, and I was pretty annoyed. But so now the whole team.
When
is
Dr. Robert effectively died, that was the death of my team. So
Grandfather's Axe is the team really the same with all new players. A couple zombies. We've got 2 or 1 that's picked up guard, which is nice. Like guard zombie is good.
It's the real version of that. It's like
yeah, there's like a Greek thing about somebody's boat, but then like the modern
there's
version
a Greek thing about somebody's boat. Benjamin
fine.
Dexter, educated individual. It's a Greek thing.
The ship of Theseus. There, happy?
No.
It's called the Ship of Theseus, which is the like you replace every part of the boat. Is it still the same boat?
There's some Greek shit about some boats.
And then the one that most people like talk about is grandfather's axe, which is, you know, like I've had this axe has been in my family for 100 years. It was my great grandfather's. I've only replaced the handle 4 times and the blade 8 times. Like, is it the same axe? Like, not really, but it's a philosophical question, and my team has become a grandfather's axe or a Ship of Theseus. Anyway, Revert, who we've recapped before because
he crawled his way back up. I love it. Or he caught up to us. I think we actually slingshotted past him. Yes, he's got a roller. He's always had a roller, and it's called "It's the Coltrane Baby" in all caps, and it's my favorite.
Yeah, Revert coming from Div 3, moving up to Div 2, and It's the Coltrane Baby is like what I'm going to be happy about all season. This is a piling on block, grab, guard, multiple block death roller. It's the Coltrane Baby. That's all you really need to say about this team. He's almost legend, and by almost I mean 100 SPP away, which is really far away. He's going to
make it this season, all right? You can't score on him. He's got no hands, but he doesn't care.
He doesn't care with those skills. Well, we're gonna multiple block and pile on more than one player. Damn it!
First skill up, piling on. He didn't take guard for 4 levels.
Yeah, it's great. We'll just we're gonna multi block the whole LOS and then pile on all of them, because that's how that works.
Yes,
it's not how that works. Okay, for the other players, 2 Troll Slayers. One has picked up Tackle and then an Agi Bust, but who cares? One has picked up Tackle, Mighty Blow, and Stand Firm, and a Movement Bust, which is sad, but the Stand Firm mitigates that a little bit.
Yeah, still looking to replace Marcus Phoenix too, for sure, because Slayers are one of your masterpieces. I hate Dwarfs.
2 runners.
There's a lot of dodge in this team. Most of it's on runners, which is probably where you want the dodge.
Let's look at positionals first. So there's Jace Stratton the third, and then Damon Baird the third are the 2 blitzers. Jace has just got dodge. Yeah. The other one has just got Mighty Blow. I mean, you need Mighty Blow somewhere on dwarves. Dodge because doubles. The Mighty Blow guy has also picked up Tackle. Actually, I forgot that was an extra thing for blitzers. Which is funny. So my whole team has Tackle. First level on a blitzer. What should I take? Tackle.
Yeah, I mean, do you see this? First level on a Slayer, Tackle. First level on a Slayer, Tackle. They also don't come with Tackle.
Yeah.
He's taken Tackle on every player he could, except for this one blitzer and the runners.
Which I agree with.
Yes, the Coltrane, but you couldn't take it on the Coltrane.
Which I agree with, because the Longbeards are too slow to catch up to like things that you need to use Tackle on.
I agree with it on a player.
Then we have 2 runners. One is I was going to say one is the ball carrier and one is the defensive one, but it's not that way because one is the passing one. We have we have a runner with block, kickoff return, dodge, fend, which is like cool. He's a runner. He just hasn't rolled Agi yet. And then he picked up accurate and pro to make those passes better. And then the other runner has picked up pass.
I forgot about these fucking runners.
The other runner is pass, block, plus movement, dodge, and fend for the other passing runner because you need to.
They're both niggled. One is AV busted and niggled. Oh, Jesus Christ, Revert. What are you doing to me, buddy?
He has a death roller. Who cares?
I mean, It's the Coltrane Baby is the best player in the league, and the rest of the team makes me want to die.
If nobody tells us anything about other matches that we're watching in Div 2 for next week, we're just watching whatever match this is.
So someone was like, I don't think it was actually Oververt. It was Oververt's opponent sent us a message that was like 16 turns of Khemri versus dwarves in the rain. We were like, yes, okay, we're watching that. Like, and it actually wasn't that spicy, which was kind of unfortunate, but
we did anyway.
If you want to sell us on a match, something like 16 turns of Khemri versus dwarves in the rain is a great way to do it.
Bunch of Longbeards. Some of them have guards, some of them have Mighty Blow. They're Longbeards. One of them has plus strength, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But other than that, they're Longbeards.
Yeah. It's about to level and get guard.
Hey, look, it's Rolling Red, our old friend Rolling Red, who is insane. This man is the craziest lizard coach I've ever had the pleasure of watching. Rolling Red, relegating from Division 1.
Frenzy. So let me tell you a story for people who are new.
All about how.
Once upon a time, my world got flipped upside down. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, once upon a time, Shadorra had a lizard team. It was his first team. On that lizard team, there was a block tackle frenzy Saurus. Shadorra's team went splat. He sold that block frenzy tackle Saurus. Rolling Red had a lizard team with not one, not two, but three frenzy Saurus. And would you like to know who purchased that frenzy Saurus to make 4 frenzy Saurus? It's fucking Rolling Red.
I have never seen a lizard team perform more blocks in a game than I have ever. Like, watch the match reports this season for Rolling Red's games, and it'll be like, okay, cool, a lizard game. How many blocks did he make? 97! It'll be a ludicrous number of blocks every game because this man is insane. Yeah. Also, the most annoying player in the universe is Tredge, the break tackle blodge sidestep plus strength Saurus. Having played against him, he like single-handedly made my life really difficult.
Is he niggled, or is he just... He's just MNG. He's still fine. I also love Thulek, the blodge, armor up, armor bust, movement bust, guard, mighty blows.
The armor up, armor bust is pretty great. There are only 2 Frenzy Saurus left on this team.
It was that rat coach that I was talking to earlier. He did it. And then he told me about it, and I was like, thank you.
Which rat? Do you remember which rat coach? Oh, True Blue's rating. Welcome along, people coming from True Blue's stream. We're doing a recap of REL 1 and 2A. And by recap, I mean precap, because it hasn't really started yet. But there are 2 Frenzy Saurus.
Really started, but over half of the games have been played.
Guard, tackle, mighty blow, 1 rookie Saurus, 1 with block, a bunch of idiot skinks, and the 1 with Agi and an Agi 4 skink can always be terrifying. The player that we've hated for years, and by years I mean seasons, the sneaky git skink that I think exists entirely to make me annoyed. And Science Experiment, which I still don't know what the experiment is, but he bought Science Experiment at the end of last season, like 2 matches before the end of the season or something, and I was like, oh no, what is Rolling Red, the crazy lizard coach, going to do with a skink named Science Experiment? It's going to be something dumb, and we still don't know because he hasn't told us, and he also hasn't leveled yet.
So, I will never say a mean thing about any team that kills Science Experiment before it levels. Let it be.
I will. I want to know what the hell Science Experiment is.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm speaking for me.
And then we have Charlestown Chiefs and Steer, who's been around for basically as long as I have.
He was in our college div.
Yep. So Steer, an old name for the 2 of us, at least.
Strength bust on Jeff Hansen means goodbye lizard.
If I recall correctly, the Charlestown Chiefs have been around for like since our college div. Like it was his college team as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, this team is OG.
So if you scroll all the way back here, you'll see me somewhere.
You'll see me at some point, I think, too. Actually,
there's Doof.
There's Boat Murder.
There we go. Got to catch them all. Charlestown Chiefs in 2018, which is
the Sons of Sam was Teton's team.
Yep, and it was an Orc team that did really, really well, like went pretty much undefeated that season. So I've had a couple games against Charlestown Chiefs. They were in, where were they last season? They're relegating from Div 1 as well, the other Lizard team dropping down.
You beat them apparently 2-1.
I did, in like Div in college or whatever. But also in Div 1 last season, and like I played this team a couple times.
I think I've never played it by the looks of it. I don't see my names.
Maybe there was in my minors division or something. I don't remember.
No, because I was in your minors division.
Well, then where did I play Steer like forever ago? Maybe they're just in our college season. There's the Street Sharks versus the Charlestown Chiefs on page 9.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Yeah, it was definitely our division because the Night Haunt, Akuma no Mi, Necro Muppets.
Am I blind? Oh, there they are. Oh, yeah, I won. Look at me.
Anyway,
this was in the Americas division for
America C was our college. But anyway, the team.
All right, whatever.
All 6 Saurus. 2 of them are rookies. 1 of them is strength busted, which really sucks. Like, it's almost not worth keeping, even though he has that many skills. Like, just the whole point of Saurus is strength 4. If he's strength 3, I know it sucks to get rid of a 100k guy, especially when you can't
he's
place
done.
him, but he's done.
He's done.
We do have a strength 5 Saurus, and we've got block guard, break tackle, and then Yvonne Lebrun with Blodge, Mighty Blow, tackle guard is kind of like the Saurus carrying all the other Sauruses to the finish line. You were in my college division.
Big Chuck, you were my first ever PvP opponent, I think, when I came back to Blood Bowl. You were in my division, and I played against you, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I won. And then you were like, I played like shit this game.
We can do that with my team, actually. If you look at the history of Gotta Catch 'Em All, we can probably go find Big Chuck's team back on page like 11 or something. I think it was Dark Elves, maybe, or maybe Necro. Panther City Ghouls, maybe. Fourth match.
Yeah, I played a friendly against Steak, and then my first real game was... Oh, no, I played the Lords of Metal, I think, was...
Yeah, I played.
Was that not you?
Later. No, he was Panther City Ghouls. He was my fourth game.
My second game.
I tied against Big Chuck back in October 2017.
Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous, Azotes, Necrodances Wolves, Panther City Ghouls, Street Sharks, Caged, Zarky Zebras, Majestic Displays, Street Sharks again, which...
You beat me because you always beat me.
No, you beat me the first time we played. You beat me... Or no, I beat you then. You beat me one time, sometime. Anyway, this is irrelevant.
All right.
We should go back to actually...
It sounds pretty relevant to Div 1 to me. I don't know. I don't think this is a tangent yet.
Hey, True Blue. We talk about stuff that isn't Blood Bowl for a lot, so it's not like the 10 minutes really cost you anything. Bloxigor. Bloxigors are good. Bunch of skinks. This one is a legend, and he is Agi, which is great. Movement Bust, which is not great. Jump Up, which is kind of weird. Sidestep, which is standard. Sprint, Sure Feet, which are... I don't have any more Agi skills to take. And then finally roll doubles for his legend skill with block. I like your cool mitten.
I know, right?
And then we have the almost one-turner skink who's taken sprint and plus movement, who's super annoying, having played with like a movement 9 skink in Imperium. Like, so fast. There's so much nonsense you can do with that.
Yeah, they're quite annoying. But yeah, it's a team that's hurting, certainly. We'll see how
the
they
Saurus
fare.
contingent is in rough shape, but we'll have to see. Ye Old Guard and Yayo, I'm unsure of how to pronounce that correctly.
Recapped for him before, or I've played him before, one of the two. I remember that name.
Coming from Div 3, promoting up to Div 2. It's a Nurgle team with 16 players, the full complement.
The 2100.
Triple Guard Rotters is incredible for a Nurgle team. So no wonder you have a 16-man bench, because you can't afford to put those guard guys on the line. But that is so many guard. But then again, like if you don't put them on the line, you're just benching them because you don't have enough places to put positionals, unless you're like not fielding your Pestigore, and then you have some weird TV issues. Like, that's almost too much guard. That sounds weird, but it might be annoying for like in terms of like your LOS setups. Anyway, that's a lot of like mixed emotions very fast.
Yeah. Pretty good other than that. It's got 6 guard. That's an insane amount for Nurgle, like you said. The Beast of Nurgle has gone for grab instead of break tackle as its third skill. It's really lacking for kill. It's got a Frenzy Mighty Blow Claw, which I imagine was a desperate move of someone who was suddenly left without a killer when their old one died. Perhaps the reason why this Pestigore is named Depression.
If you have somewhere to be, Big Chuck, we can do your team next if you want.
There's one Nergal Warrior that is a real one at Blodge, Guard, Mighty Blow Claw. Then a couple that are just barely getting off the ground. One blodge, one block tackle, or one block guard rather, and one block claw. Claw first is interesting. He might have been facing an AV9 team. Claw is only better than Mighty Blow versus AV9 or 10, I suppose. But
there isn't an AV10 team.
No, there is not. And if you take Claw to beat trees over Mighty Blow to beat elves, I have some questions.
And all block first is not like totally surprising, but a lot of Nurgle coaches will take. I'm a
strong proponent of all block first.
A lot of Nurgle coaches will have one Nergal Warrior. I guess it depends on what point in the season you're in, but like a rookie Nurgle team, like straight up TV 1000, the first Nergal Warrior will often just take Mighty Blow because you're not going to win anyway, so you might as well like give yourself a chance with like some lucky removals and maybe some development acceleration. But if this was like a later team and we just kind of have recycled Nergal Warriors, then block first makes a lot of sense. But some people do like one with Mighty Blow first just to get him going as a killer. But
you've got a decidedly fair sacker in Scoots. Movement bust is really unfortunate, of course. On your sacker, it's the worst player probably other than your ball carrier to have one. So probably going to look to recycle him at some point. It's just like not tenable to keep him around. Doesn't do anything.
Frenzy as a second skill on the Killer Pestigore is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it was supposed to be. That's what I'm saying. I think Cosmic was a desperate move after he lost his normal killer. So a Nurgle team kind of in the process of rebuilding a little bit.
Still better than mine.
Position. It is a little bit better than yours.
Coco has a pending level, and if it's not a double or a stat, it's just going to be 2 heads or extra arms is pretty much what your options are. If it's a double, you take dodge. If it's a stat that isn't armor, you just take it, whatever that stat is.
I think you go 2 heads, but yeah, that's over extra arms. But
2 heads or extra arms are both the options, and I guess it kind of depends. I kind of like extra arms if you don't have like dodge first because you're not
2 heads. But 2 heads is nice because it's still relevant if you roll agi. Extra arms is less relevant if you roll agi.
That's true, but while you don't have dodge, 2 heads is not that relevant because you're ball carrying on him, and if you have to do like desperate dodges or whatever, or like potato dodges, you're really scared to do them.
You know how many times you've had to do goddamn potato dodges with your Nurgle? It happens.
Every other game, basically.
I would say most games. Anyway.
Well, most games is 50% or so.
Then we have the team I want to watch some games from, Luminous's Vampires.
Oh, yes. Hello.
2 movement up, 1 strength up, a movement up thrall, 4 wonderfully developed vampires, all in some random order, 1 new vampire, 4 rerolls. 4 rerolls he can get away with because he has 2 pro. You wouldn't normally go fewer rerolls than you have vampires, but you can once you start to get a couple of pros. Lets you kind of like reroll a couple of the attrition and bloodlust that you start picking up. Emmanuel Macaron, whatever, is
well, it's the French.
Yeah, I know who it is. I just
now that I see it, I don't remember if that's his actual last name or if it's like that's how you.
It's not because
it doesn't have the A, right?
Well, so they're politicians in food, like Vladimir Putin.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like I don't remember if that's how his actual last name is spelled or if how you spell like the pastry is like I can't differentiate the two in my mind right now, whether that's actually not the same thing. Okay, I have to Google this. How do you spell the pastry? Is it actually with the A?
that is a macaron, like the French pastry, like the French little, those are macarons. And then there's macaroons, which is different.
Right, and his name is it doesn't have the A. Okay, there we go. That I just couldn't reconcile in my mind which one was which, but the politician is Macron, not Macaron. But there you go. Yes, coming from Div 2, so just swapping to the other side.
Natural segue back into being on point.
Coming from Div 2, but the other side of Div 2. 5 Vamps. 1 is Strength 5, Movement 7, which is kind of gross. 1 is Movement 7. The other 2 have mostly taken... 1 is a rookie, and the other 2 have mostly taken reliability skills up until their second last level. Block, dodge to save on rerolls, so we don't have to use them for bloodlusts. We can use them for... we can use them for bloodlusts or for hypnogazes instead of blocks or dodges. Mighty Blow Tackle... sidestep, and then pro. I like pro. Some people will be like pro first on all vampires, and some people take it as like a 5th skill, which I like better.
Block or dodge first on all vamps, I think. Like pro is a third-ish skill sometimes is fine, but like
he did 4 and 5 here, which I like after
most of the
sidestep.
time, if you need to reroll your bloodlusts, it's because you planned poorly. Like, of course, there are times when you need to reroll your bloodlust, but most of the time you just need to eat them, right?
Or
like,
you're doing like a super important thing.
Yeah,
like...
sure. Sometimes there are bloodlusts you need to reroll, but most of them you don't. What actually you want to save is having to still like to make sure you have rerolls when you get to those bloodlusts. You need things that like make you more reliable, like block and dodge for the 100%. Things you're doing basically everything.
Your mic stopped. I don't know if that's me or if that's your microphone.
Hi, is my microphone still working?
Yes.
Excellent. I said all I wanted to say about it.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Like block dodge first, and then he took sidestep, and then pro I really like, and then after that we've got some utility like extra stuff like grab or juggernaut frenzy, some cool things there. And then the thralls are thralls. One of them has got movement, so he can kind of do some ball carrying while the vamps do other stuff if he needs to. And then we've got the the kick,
I like the
thrall,
pile
the
of
wrestle
shame, like
at the bottom.
The agi busted shame pile.
Yeah, they go in the line or have a specific job like kick.
Yeah, they're like wrestle fend. They're perfect for the. Well, I mean the kick one doesn't obviously because he's got kick. But
the wrestle fend ones go on the line and they get bitten first.
They get bit. Yes, they get et.
They're the blood bags.
I mean, actually, no. You probably would still eat a rookie because you can never perm with bites. So
no, the worst is badly hurt.
Yeah, you'd probably still want to just bite the rookies because like you'd rather have a wrestle piece around even if it is movement busted and agi busted.
Secret Lizard Overlords is
also
a team I haven't seen before.
This is Spoopy's team. So Miners season after us is a moderator in the rookie league. I played him last season. He's been around for a while.
I've never played him, but I've interacted with him in like the rookie Discord certainly.
So another rookie coach who has come up and made a name for himself. Good looking team. Wasn't quite this good looking last season, I think. I remember playing it.
Div 3 last season, speaking of.
Div 3B with me on my Chaos team. I believe I removed a bunch of Saurus and it made it sad for him.
Ruth Gator Ginsburg is pretty great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Unfortunately, the third, because she keeps dying. Fingers crossed.
I also like Proctor Phil.
Yes. And he's great. He's block, guard, stand firm. Exactly the skills my clan Croxagore had before he dub skulled himself to death. I'm not bitter, you're bitter. Good looking team though. Genghis Slan is 1 SVP away from leveling. He will take
stand firm? No.
Maybe guard?
Yeah, probably guard.
Because like you never only use your swords for blitzing. Guard isn't bad. And also, if you blitz into a pile, he's now providing support. Like
you could just go Juggernaut if you want to make him your dedicated blitzer all the time as well.
Could.
But
I wouldn't hate Jugs.
I think personally I would take guard, but I also don't play lizards, so
he's a little lacking. Like I think Eric the Red Bellied should have gone guard to be Croxagore numero dos. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good looking team though. It's got to get some skills on Ruth, but other than that, it's
yeah. I mean, if this team had block on Ruth Gator Ginsburg, I would be happy with it. Like that's all it needs to be competitive. Like at a high level, certainly. Got a movement skink.
It's got a nearly natural one turner. It's got an agi up skink. It's got a block skink. You'd like to combine the block and the agi, of course, but you
can't have everything. And then the Saurus are kind of at that like 3 to 4 skill sweet spot. You've got a block Sigor. Like all he wants, I think, is block on Ruth Gator Ginsburg, and then this team is like pretty much as TV efficient as it's ever going to be.
But he never wants this team to go to Div 1 or else it will instantly die.
With the 5 Nurgle, yeah.
And then we have 2 awesomes, meanest, greeniest boys.
Who I've played in. I played in. We haven't covered them before, this team, but I've played 2 awesome in like Imperium a couple times.
Oh, okay. It's a good looking orc team. It's got 2 strength ups, both on Black Orcs. Great place to have them. One of them is niggled, unfortunately, but you never throw that away. 3 of them are guard stand firm. One is blodge guard stand firm, which is great. One is strength up guard stand firm, which is also great. And one is just the more standard guard stand firm mighty blow, which you can't complain about. Got a really good blitzer. He's chosen to go dodge because it was more of his juggernaut rather than his piling on one. I think he would take jump up otherwise, but
yeah,
it's pretty nice.
Also from Div 3, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a great looking orc team. I like how
sacrificial Green Boy is by far the like most important orc now.
No, that's still hungry Green Boy. But sacrificial Green Boy is pretty solid at movement up and agi up. He is an amazing and a double for dodge and a double for sidestep.
He is definitely not sacrificial. He is not a sacrificial Green Boy. He's a very important Green Boy.
I don't know about sidestep here, friend. I think I would have just gone sure hands. He's clearly your ball carrier. Why are you taking sidestep as a double?
I mean, sidestep
it's not bad, but like
it's a really good skill on a ball carrier if your ball carrier is a ghoul, and like you get sidestep as not a double. But I think
but also like you have sure hands already. Like this team is never gonna have sure hands until this guy hits ledge.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is I think I would have preferred. I would have skipped the double. I think and just taken sure hands there. I know it feels bad to skip the double, and sidestep is certainly like a good skill. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I think you're going to get a lot more value out of sure hands, both in terms of like the strip ball that you'll find against on high TV elf teams at this level, as well as just saving you rerolls that time that you roll a 1. It goes from a 1 in 6 to a 1 in 36 without having to spend a reroll on it, and you have those rerolls for blocks and stuff.
Strip ball, which is nice.
Yeah, and you can start greeting stuff a bit more when you don't have to have the reroll dedicated. Like a lot of the times you'll be like, gotta save this reroll to make sure I pick up this ball, because if I don't, the elves are going to steal it and run away. And you don't need to do that, and you can start doing stuff like greeting blocks with Tenacious Green Boy on those elves with your rerolls instead when you have a sure hands. I think I would have preferred sure hands. You'll get a lot of use out of the sidestep, but yeah, a long way away from sure hands, and I feel like at least one point in the season you'll wish you had sure hands instead. But
next up is Rand the Mad, Bring Out Your Undead. His rookie Khemri team. It was weird that they let a rookie team into 2A, but here we go. It has 3 rookie Tomb Guardians.
The skeletons aren't rookies.
It has 1 Blitzra, and it has an incredible suite of Throw Raws and Skeletons. You know, the backbone of any good Khemri team. Everyone always says it's the skeleton linemen's in the Throw Raws. I mean, they're really where you're lying. You know, when push comes to shove, they're the ones taking the punches.
Rand also from Div 2, just swapping over to Div 2A from B. Not that there's no difference there. We just happen to cover A, so there you go.
No, I mean it's the closer one to Div 1, so it's better. Don't let Ben's weird neutral stance fool you.
Tell my wife I said hello.
Are literally trash.
How can one man be so neutral? I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
We know who your spirit animal is.
The spirit animal is a sloth.
Bravely Run Away Again is actually great. He has double up movement and is called Bravely Run Away Again.
I mean, that's perfect.
He has strength 4, which is kind of funny. 1, 2, 5.
I'm a fan of this team. I like it because it's Monty Python themed, and I like it because Bravely Run Away has movement, and that's all that really matters.
I also love that red, no blue, is MNG. It's really great. I feel like
everything's very thematic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who Made You King has an Agi bust, but is otherwise a great Blitzra. Just all the standard Blitzra things.
Yeah, Mighty Blow, piling on, tackle.
2 guard skeletons is nice. 1 has also got Mighty Blow. Okay, you should not have taken that Mighty Blow. What the hell are you doing, Rand?
But it's 2 shrubberies.
What the fuck?
Movement 8 on a Khemri team is incredible. Once he actually gets the ball, he's just a speedy little bony boy running up the field.
I don't like that.
I love it a lot. Imagine his crackling and rattling as he like chunks up the field, going like clink 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 like a xylophone.
People can't chunk places. You can't.
Skeletons can chunk wherever they want.
I don't like that.
I'm in this picture and I don't like it.
I was sleeping in my bed at night when a skeleton chunked into my room.
Yeah, exactly. Chunking up the field. I think I tried to say like clinking and like clanking or something, and it came out chunk, but shh. Strength, wrestle, tackle, throw raw is hilarious. It's like the defensive dwarf runner, but it's a throw raw, and that's great. Bunch of skeletons, some wrestle, some tackle, some dirty player, like some extra guard. It's kind of like, you know, guard zombies in there, which is nice. Though, like, we need another blitz raw because blitz raws are very important, and you know, we need Tomb Guardian levels. But yeah, that's there's not much you can really do about that. Sometimes they die. Yeah,
sometimes they do die, and apparently I'm Not Dead Yet
has died 4 times.
3 times. He's the 4th.
Oh yes.
Anyway, interesting to see if Rand can pull off the Khemri rebuild in Div 2A. Brick and Mortary is Fiction's orc team.
Yes.
Which I've not seen. Has climbed quickly back up to REL 2A.
Yeah, Fiction
with his Necro team for a while.
Yeah, Fiction a pretty staple coach in, you know, Div 1, Div 2. Certainly was like you said, Necro a couple seasons ago. Climbed back up with these orcs, promoting from Div 3 to Div 2. So I would be surprised if we don't see like a similar high table finish from Fiction here. Brick is a troll. He's got guard and stand firm. Very trolly. 4 black orcs with this. Most of them are standard with block guard. One has got mighty blow instead of guard. One has got mighty blow as a 3rd skill. We've got one with dodge, which is kind of fun.
Good. If you can get blodge after guard, it's always nice on black orcs for sure.
Yeah, strength 4 blodge guard stand firm is such an annoying piece to like shift around in the bash matchups.
It's a pretty undeveloped orc team though so far, but he is coming up. I think he came up pretty quickly through the divs, so that's not surprising. Elmer Xenon Bloom is scary. A strength up, frenzy, tackle, juggernaut piece is a great surfing threat.
Oof.
Resin Noob is kind of funny. A block, diving tackle, blitzer. So a bit of an annoying piece for elves to deal with.
Yeah, very defensive diving tackle.
Stand firm and then maybe guard, I would imagine.
There's one thing I hate about this team. Can you tell me what it is?
The one thing you hate, that it has a thrower?
No. It has a troll, but no goblin.
Oh, I see, the troll, but no goblin. Yeah, he's not doing for the 1 turns, which are incredibly unlikely. He's just punching with the troll because it gives him...
Boring! If you have a troll... If you have a troll...
Putrescence!
Boo! If you have a troll, you have a goblin. You got to be able to throw the goblin sometimes. Come on. What has Baby Swiss taught any of you? Other than sadness.
Don't love cheese. His thick skull troll can go fuck himself.
That mattered in my game against cheese. Thick skull saved that. Thick skull saved that troll from being sent off the field from my Claw Mighty Blow Nergal Warrior. The thick skull saved that troll in my game.
Take a long walk off a short pier, buddy.
There's a lot of short piers around here.
Is that a dick joke?
No, it's a I live on the ocean joke. Orcs. He does have a thrower, which is not always common. But it's early sure hands, and considering that he's like risen up pretty quick and doesn't have a ton of development, it makes sense because we don't have like a blitzer ball carrier currently. You know, dirty player lineman and some idiot linemen. You know, it doesn't look like the craziest team in the world for now, but it's got the tools to be annoying, and it'll only get worse as we get a couple more levels with a little bit more guard.
Yeah, I mean it's well on its way to being gross. It's got 5 guard already at, you know, this TV, which is not low by any means, but it's a pretty bloaty orc team with a couple of doubles splitting around in the strength up. So, and
here's our Mimi elf team of Div 2A in that it has no players. Spoony Bard.
No players, I
mean, it has 8, which is not none, but I'm trying to do something funny here.
I get what you're trying to do.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to be entertaining. I don't know if it's working, but you know,
I think you know if it's working.
It's not.
Take a long, hard look in the mirror.
So, left square bracket color equals apostrophe FF00000000 apostrophe close right square bracket all capital Delves, coached by Spoony Bard, is promoting all the way up from Div 4 to Div 2, having done pretty well last season.
And you can see why. He's got 3 guard blitzers without the damage that the other... Well, I mean, I guess it is still lacking a Witch Elf, but I mean, it's in better shape than the other Dark Elves that were in a similar position are. It's also got a Strength Up Blitzer to complement. Strength Up and then rolled doubles for Mighty Blow, so it is a Strength 4 Blitzer.
Oof.
With Blodge, Tackle, Mighty Blow, and Sidestep, so it's a real beast.
Doof.
Got a runner, and it's still kicking around, actually, which is kind of surprising. Normally you throw them away. I guess it hasn't died yet, but it is...
He also doesn't have a... I mean, he's there for leader, basically, and he only has the 2 rerolls, and he can't afford another reroll because he's missing players currently, so he's probably sticking around just because he lost players and needs the 3rd reroll more than anything else. That's kind of why the runners are often taken, is it's 6 SPP away from another reroll.
Well, yeah, it's an easy way to get another reroll, which is nice early on, but usually you let them go. Usually when they die, you don't fire them. But when they die, you just die. So maybe this is just one that hasn't died in the same way that Tessa has had this Minotaur since day 1 because it just won't die and keeps killing things. Sable's a really nice Witch Elf. She's rolled a double for Juggernaut, and she's got a movement up, so she is a movement 8 surfing threat that is, very tough to deal with and is a decent enough sacker in her own right. Movement 8 means that she can get around a lot of cages if you leave any sort of a gap, so...
Mind the gap!
Mind the gap, indeed. Good-looking Dark Elf team. Interesting to see what it does. It does have some unfair pieces, so I expect good things from Spoony Bard's team for sure.
Yeah.
And then we have Big Chuck's cliche EOs. Cliche EOs.
It's
you don't get to do cliche and the E. You can't have both sounds, so it's just clicheos. But that's a...
Well, it's supposed to be clicheos, like it's chaos, but they're the cliche. But everybody in the universe has called it clicheos, and he has embraced the meme and, has posted in the My Dudes channel with like a picture of a cereal box like labeled clicheos. So we've embraced the clicheos. And it's Big Chuck who made challengers in the last season and didn't really want to, and then made it way farther than he expected to, because Big Chuck is the kind of coach that does not give up and will just continue to try to win regardless of his desire to actually be there. So Big Chuck was the semifinalist from the or one of the semifinalists, I should say, from the Challengers Cup, having done very well in Challengers. Shoots him up to Div 2A. And this is what we have. No Minotaur on this team. The 4 Chaos Warriors are basically the standard array of Block, Claw, Mighty Blow, Guard, Tackle, Stand Firm in some order, except for Dead Meat, who has picked up Strength. I really like that he went Guard after that. Block, Guard, Strength is such an annoying piece to deal with, and he doesn't have a lot of Guard elsewhere. Tentacles would probably be a pretty good pickup following that. A lot of coaches would have just gone immediately Tentacles because of how useful Strength 5 Tentacles is against certain coaches, but I like the Guard first, and I think Tentacles or Stand Firm next would both be very good options for Dead Meat. Yeah, Big Chuck agreeing. Stand Firm into Tense. And Stand Firm or Tense, good options.
It's a pretty good looking team. It's like you said, it's lacking in a bit of guard presence right now. But
for the Beastmen, I know that there are 7 of them. We've got a rookie, Dirty Player Wrestle,
so
Dodge.
No bench in Div 2A is going to be interesting.
He had a bit of a rough time in some of the matches in Challengers. There was a lot of punching that occurred.
Chaos Die. That's just,
Block Guard is the lone extra guard piece on the Beastmen.
I think you need Claw, to be honest.
Yeah, stupid is as stupid does. We'll get Claw certainly. I would imagine next.
He's got a normal on Bone to pick. So I was thinking Claw for that.
That's a good. I was gonna get there. I saw the level up, but didn't look at what skills he had.
Maybe with the movement up, you consider Frenzy. I don't know. The Mighty Blow is kind of awkward, but it's not too.
The problem, I think, if you go Frenzy, you really, really want Stand Firm to because you'll want to use him to surf frequently because movement 7 Frenzy, but you're going to be
movement 7 Frenzy. You won't likely be counter surfed because you can move away, right? You need it more on Troll Slayers because they're movement 5 and they often end their movement next to the line. But like more agile players need it less unless you're not blitzing with them, and most of the time, like you're probably going to be blitzing with them.
Well, that's true because like Horns Frenzy is such a like one-man surfing operation because the horns makes you not need assists. It does, like, I think it does if you take Frenzy, I think it dictates your final level. Like you just take Stand Firm as your legend skill regardless, and you're really far away from it. I think it might depend on how you feel like this season is going to go for you, right? If your first matchup is like another bash team and you want to just start the season off with like wins, like I want to win this division and do really well, I think Claw would be the way to go, just because it's like I rolled a level, I'm playing elves next, I don't really want to take tackle, but I want to win this match, so I need tackle of levels. If you're playing a chaos team in this like next, or like a bash team next, you probably want to grab Claw. But if you're more like long-term oriented, then Frenzy is probably a good idea.
All right. And then we are moving on to Average Joe's Gym.
You missed the ball
from
carrier.
Duberman.
But he is a ball carrier.
I missed the ball carrier. He exists. He has plus movement and kickoff return. It's a little awkward. It's fine.
Agreed. Duberman and the Average Joe's Gym. It's another elf team with only 8 players. Kickoff return is a good skill on a ball carrier, especially a slow one, but the fact that he got movement after the kickoff return makes it a little awkward. But I had kickoff return on a ghoul for a while and their movement 7, and it was useful, so there you go. This is Average Joe's Gyms promoting from Division 4 up to Div 2A, so a bit of a jump there. There's one blitzer. White.
There's literally like nothing to talk about on this team. It doesn't exist. Like it's got a blitzer with dodge, I should say. It's got 2 guard linemen. It's got 2 block linemen, one of which is agi busted. It's got a catcher that's quite nice in block, mighty blow, tackle.
Really
and
good.
Then it's got 2 catchers, one with 1 normal and one with 2 normals. There is no team. I guess this team promoted because it did incredibly well. But dear God, Duberman, I hope inducements are kind to you.
Well, yeah. I mean, if this is the like kind of elf team where if any one of these players rolls agi, suddenly it's really annoying. But for now, it's a little awkward. High elf catchers are really good. They're strength 3, agi 4, movement 8. One of them has got mighty blow for like the blitzing, killing sort of potential. We've got a really like. On 90% of teams, if you're like, you can have a movement 8, strength 3, wrestle, tackle, dodge piece, you'd be like, hell yes, please. And that's not very difficult for high elves to pick up. So those 2 pieces are certainly useful, and guard is really good on elf teams, but it doesn't quite have enough to make it like a scary elf team. Like if I ran into this elf team, I'd be like, okay, like I think I could do that. It really needs like the one unfair piece, like. It needs a plus movement elf or a plus agi elf or something like that to be really terrifying. Certainly fine, but it's not
so much to say about it. Yeah,
not the scariest team.
Superfed's team, which there is a lot more to say about. It doesn't have claw, unfortunately. I would really like it in this div for sure. Agi up on a storm vermin is interesting. It's not something you see every day. I don't hate it.
We have recapped Superfed before, but not this team, right? Because we recapped as Kislev.
We recapped as Kislev, I think, twice. We've like followed Superfed around quite a bit.
Superfed has followed us around quite a bit. And by that, I mean, for some reason, people like us doing recaps, so they put us in charge of Div 1, and Superfed often ends up in Div 1 because he's, pretty all right at Blood Bowl.
He's okay. He's got a dodge or a agi up leap. Sure hands piece is a nice retrieval. He's got a standard sacker in wrestle strip ball. He's got a blotch stepper, and he's got a thrower, which with nothing on it. So not a lot going on. He's got the 2-head sacker, of course, which is like a bit more interesting. But there's not a lot to say about this round.
Promoting from Div 5, which is quite a jump from 5 to 2. But it's a low-ish TV Skaven team that can grab a wizard where it has an agi 6 gutter runner and a wrestle strip ball gutter runner. Like,
I mean, it's got a magician shop, so half the time it just gets the the wizard for free
There you go.
anyway.
So
and it's got the good tools to use it. It's true. Like rats don't need a lot and have an incredible inducement game, so
yeah,
can easily do work
with the wizard all the time. Now he can afford to grab stuff like Glart or like the 5th Gutter Runner from Skitter or what the other one.
Glart and Skitter are the big ones. There's also Vermin. No, not Vermin. I don't remember what his name is.
Hackflem Shuttle Spike.
Sure.
Well, he's the other like Skaven inducement dude that people will take sometimes. But like
it's only really lacking kick. Kick is really important. Flower Tucci will probably.
Hackflem is another like movement 9 agi 4 piece. So like you can get 6 gutter runners if you have a boatload of inducements, and that's just so much movement. But yeah, like you said, like it's got the tools to be annoying, right? Like the only thing he'd really love, I think, is Claw on proxy page. Just to have that like one sort of removal blitzy sort of werewolf, like one player a turn sniping dudes kind of player. Guard on the other storm vermin to make that easier would be nice too. But then pretty much everybody else, you got a sacker, you've got a sidestep lodge guy, you've got the agi 5 piece, you've got a strip ball piece, and you got a wizard. Like what else do you want on Skaven? And despite the 1280 TV, I'd be pretty annoyed or scared to play this team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it would be very annoying.
Once again, Superfed going with the porn star themed
of course,
player names.
Porn stars or porn sites. So, would you like to predict the remaining 4 matches in this?
I'm sure there's something you could like garner about his preferences by the porn stars he's chosen, but that's something I'll leave up to you. Yes. 4 matches have played in this div, or 3 matches have played in this div somehow already, so we can't predict those.
Yeah, so Charlestown Chiefs, broken-ish. No, not. Yeah, these are the pretty broken lizards. Versus Superfed's Rats. Not traditionally a great matchup for lizards to begin with. I probably want to give this to the Rats.
I'd take it to the Rats as well. I mean, he's got 1 tackle available for this match, and the strength isn't particularly useful when Superfed's just going to run away all the time. The lack of...
it's a bit more useful against rats than it is against elves because most of their team is agi 3, so you don't want to be dodging out with your line rats if you can help it. But I mean, with like tackle. Just the lack of block kicking around, like there's 3 players without block that he's going to be trying to like do moves with, and it's just not going to be that reliable. Like he's not going to. Lizards can beat rats if like nothing bad happens because they just get a lot of blocks against line rats and remove them all, and then the rats run out of the pitch presence that those linos bring. So
Dennis Lemieux, the skink, would be like an annoying thing for the rats to deal with like sidestep and like enough movement to keep up, but he's also strength 1, so he's pretty irrelevant in the like rat chasing game. And David Killer Carson, who is more relevant, is movement busted, so like he's gonna have a hard time, despite having skinks, he's gonna have a hard time doing useful things with those skinks to the rats.
Yeah,
so like I like the rats. I mean
Big Chuck, you asked me for one. You were like, we're going live, give me a prediction. And I said, I believe in the heart of your cards, which was a prediction that you would win, and you did win. So clearly I get extra points.
I think I would have predicted the Clicheos against the Khemri as well.
No,
this is the like
you problem. No, it's fine. We're not going to actually score that.
No, the way Khemri would win that match is with like the strength of the Tomb Guardians and good positioning on them to make it hard for the Chaos, and the Tomb Guardians don't have levels, so that makes it really difficult.
Yep, and then we have Vamps versus Dwarves.
Oh yes, we're watching this so bad.
Oh god, yeah. I don't even submit anything else, guys. Spoilers. We're watching this.
I'm watching Luminous play vampires against the Coltrane every day of the week. But yeah, it's Orevert, Cogs of War, and Luminous's vampires. Man, in a vacuum, I would probably want to predict dwarves against vampires. There's some pretty good looking vamps with a lot of reliability skills, and Luminous is kind of good at playing Blood Bowl, and the other team is a Death Roller team, which while certainly hilarious, is not necessarily how you defeat vampires. Although to be fair, I guess the Death Roller is gonna like chunk through thralls. which would certainly be annoying for the vampire player. But in like everything in my heart is screaming out to predict Luminous, so I think I need to do that.
Yeah, no,
yeah, maybe if he had less of a bench, I would go for the dwarves. But with 13 players, I think is enough that we can counteract a little bit of the mighty blow, like getting through the vampire or getting through the thralls action.
Yep. Then we have Jimothy Burrito versus the Lizard Overlords. Jimmy Burrito's team is pretty battered. Necro usually do well against lizards, though I don't know if he's going to do well against these lizards with that team right now.
Oh yeah, 1480. I mean, he's going to get a bunch of inducements, but I mean that's a chainy for sure.
Yeah.
10. So he's what, 10 players? So he's actually at 1520. So we get what, 400? So he gets chainy and a wizard easy.
And chainy and a wizard is nothing to snuff at. What do you think?
Which guard do the lizards have? I think the lizards are just solid. Like if most of the other lizard teams in this div have like some weaknesses here and there with like some low level Saurus or some Niggles or whatever, but all of the lizards are in great health other than the one Saurus that doesn't have block. If he can deal with chainy the correct way, I think the lizards probably have the advantage. But if he doesn't deal with chainy very well, then Jimmy can probably take it. But I'm gonna go like 60% lizards maybe. So yeah, I'll take the lizards.
That was a really long way of saying that you take the lizards.
It was, but it was also my way of barely taking the lizards, so Jimmy doesn't feel bad that I predicted against him, because I'm being a nice person who's trying to be considerate to my audience so I can, build it or whatever, or, not be a mean person. I don't know. Whatever. Jimmy can take it. Bullshit skinks will steal the game. And then we have the meanest, greenest boys and Average Joe's gym. So we've got Too Awesome, and we've got
those enormous orcs versus the tiny high elf team.
Oh, yes. Well, the high elves get a wizard, but they can't really take advantage of it super well because they're missing some...
They get way more than a wizard.
I mean, they could take like Soren or something ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I mean, they get... Their linos are what, 60k?
70.
Yeah.
70.
Okay, so they've got an extra 210 onto that, so they're at
1450.
1450 versus 1960, so 500k. 510k.
The Wonder Twins never pick lizards. That's not necessarily true. I just picked the lizards. Didn't I? Yeah, I did.
I also picked the lizards.
I just picked lizards. What, 500? Did we just say 500k for the high elves? Well, a wizard, obviously. I mean, Eldril is really good. Then there's Soren, there's Prince Moranian, who's probably a little bit overcosted, but still pretty good, and you have a lot of money to spend. Not knowing very much about Too Awesome's Orcs or Duberman's Elves right now, I'm going to predict based on straight up teams rather than performance in the season or how I've seen them play, because I haven't really yet. And I think I'd just go with Orcs. I mean, we've got a bunch of guard, we've got 3
yeah, that means
blow.
We don't have a contested pick, but also that's Div 2A's fault and not ours, so...
Yeah, because they played too many games. They don't get picks, and they don't get to dictate our, things because they played too fast. Our matches, our recaps are on Wednesday, and the, divisions start Wednesday. This is not our fault.
Yeah, I agree. I'm honestly surprised that,
Oh, I thought that was a sarcastic I'm surprised, not Robbie, not like an I'm surprised.
Oh, yeah. I'm honestly surprised that Superfed hasn't played his game. He's, notorious for playing before our recap.
Yeah, just because he wants to make me mad.
I'm sure he tried.
Anyway, let's bring up the... Oops, I have to remember where all my buttons are. It's been a while. We'll bring up the dual title screen, because that's all we really have to talk about. The later recaps will ideally be a bit faster, because we've already kind of done the whole this is the team thing. But knowing us, they won't be.
Well, we also have to go over the matches, so it kind of balances out.
Yeah, exactly. So next week, we'll be looking at a match from each division. So if you think your match is particularly exciting or interesting or meme-worthy or funny or a good example of Blood Bowl play, then feel free to poke one of us on Discord and suggest that we watch it, and we will watch it.
But if you're in Div 2A, I wouldn't bother.
Because we're gonna watch those dwarves and vampires, I'm telling you right now.
It's nothing personal. It's just that is the Khemri versus Dwarves in the rain for 16 turns of this season. So
if you haven't seen this before, we do try to endeavor to get to every team at least once, but we can't always accomplish that because we watch one every other week, and by the time we get to like week 8, we start to focus on what matches are relevant for the playoff standings rather than necessarily what is available or what we haven't watched before. But thanks everybody very much for watching for the first recap, the precap of the brand new season. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited to get playing Blood Bowl again, and I hope you guys are excited to watch
I got my first game
these.
tomorrow against some Vamps with my rookie rats.
One more thing I do want to announce before we do the official sign off is that I have to do a bunch of travel in the next couple of weeks, annoyingly enough, right as the season has started. I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks, and then in 4 weeks I am going away for work, so there's probably going to be some weirdness about the reviews for 2 of the weeks, but at least they're happening early in the season and not later in the season where they're a little bit more relevant for playoffs and stuff. We might be able to work out something with like a guest host, but since Shadorra doesn't actually stream, we need somebody else to do the hosting portion of it.
Yeah. So if you're interested in hosting the stream for a week, probably in 2 weeks being the most pertinent one, I think your work one is still kind of up in the air.
It is, yeah, but it's like 85% likely. Yeah.
The first one we tackle would be in 2 weeks, so not the 15th, but the 22nd. If you're interested in hosting the stream for a week, send me a message on Discord. Probably send me like 3 messages on Discord because college season is starting now, and I get too many PMs, and I'll probably miss it. But
yeah. So we might be able to do something, we might not, but I just want to warn everybody ahead of time that like I apologize in advance, but the travel schedules are what they are, and I can't necessarily do it, and I'm very sorry that we'll miss a week.
Ben is not committed and won't be streaming from the beach in Barbados.
Yeah, I know. It's very disappointing. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Hope you're excited. I'm excited. We will see you guys next week, and until then, I've been Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.
See everyone next week, folks.